Right, back live tonight here on In Focus, and thanks for staying on. Let's return then to our top story this evening. President Cyril Ramaphosa nominating Justice Mandisa Maya to replace outgoing Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. Consultations are still expected to take place with political parties. They are expected to make, of course, their submissions on that nomination and the Judicial Service Commission as well. Well, let's discuss this now with the South African Women Lawyer Association Vice President Ncumisa Nongogo. We are hoping to have Women Legal Center Director Seehaam Samaai as well join us on a better line in just a moment. But Ncumisa, good evening. Thank you very much for your time and for joining us this evening here on In Focus. The President, when appointing Justice Maya as the Deputy Chief Justice, saying she will contribute to the ongoing transformation process of the judiciary. Is that a tall order to be placing that degree of responsibility on her, or is it just a walk in the park for the justice?
Good evening to you and to the viewers at home. The announcement by the President is most welcomed by all women, and in particular women in the South African Women Lawyers Association. We believe that Chief Justice Maya is a proven and a capable leader. She will be up to the challenge. Is transformation in the judiciary.
Yeah. And her ascendency, I mean, what are some of the fundamental issues that she has had to deal with on her way going up now to the highest court in the land?
But basically, she has had to her appointment has sent a strong message. Firstly, as the president of the SCA, that there are capable women leaders in the judiciary, and as well as her appointment as the first women Chief Justice in our country, that bodes well for the future of the judiciary. As you would know, there have been strides in transforming the judiciary to make sure that it is representative of the demographics of our country, both in terms of race and gender. But the challenge has been the leadership in the judiciary. It has remained largely male, and we think her ascending to the position of the Deputy Chief Justice and now to be the next Chief Justice will just seal what has been a dream deferred for most women. And it comes at just after the celebration of the 100 years of women in the legal profession. It has taken just that long to have a women leader of the judiciary in our country. So it is significant. It says women are there to fulfill these responsibilities and positions in our country.
100 years of women in the judiciary. She has, 20 years of experience in a distinguished career as the judicial officer, Seehaam. Could it have happened even earlier, a little bit earlier? Is 20 years in the profession for her in particular, not just women in the legal profession at all, a long time? Was it delayed for her to get to this point?
Well, I mean, 2 years ago, we made something, and many women, besides the Women's League Center, but many other organizations thought, 27 years was enough, able to ensure that she becomes the Chief Justice in the legal profession. In addition to that, to also ensure that the vision of Section 174(2) of the Constitution.
Seehaam, unfortunately, that line letting us down there. We can't, unfortunately, hear you clearly. We'll try and get a better connection there. Ncumisa, let me bring it back to you then. A lot of people, especially during the interviews, would have learned that Justice Maya had made history by writing a Superior Court judgment in isiXhosa. How significant was that development?
It is significant because for litigants, justice must not only be done, but must also be seen to be done. And I think part of the transformative jurisprudence we have to develop in our country is that a recognition of the type of people that live in this country. And for her to have been able to pen a judgment down in a vernacular language signifies the need and the possibility that is there if we all are open to say we live in this country that is different in many ways, that we can deliver justice not necessarily in the official language of English.
So, I mean, the gender equality question, of course, is one that she answered with such grace and such confidence, and in spite of the fact that it implied all sorts of negative things. And you've already mentioned that there is no shortage of women who could take up leadership position in any realm, really, of our society and in our institutions. Is this, for you, the moment that breaks that debate, that conversation of whether even South Africa is ready for a female president?
As she aptly put it during the interview, we have always been ready as a country. It is unfortunate that it has taken this long, but obviously this is a moment of celebration for all women lawyers, and I would guess all progressive lawyers in this country.
Let's talk then about some of the things that you believe as women lawyers in the country she would need to immediately, as soon as she sets up office, to begin to deal with.
Obviously, the journey to transform the judiciary fully is an ongoing one. So I believe she will also participate and contribute to the development of the next generation of women lawyers. We also believe that she will deal with the immediate and pressing challenges in the delivery of justice in this country, making sure that our courts are efficient, and that people have access to justice, because ultimately the judiciary exists for making sure that justice is delivered swiftly to litigants.
Yeah. Seehaam, I believe we've got you now on the line, and we could possibly hear you a little bit better. You were saying your immediate reaction to the announcement and the nomination by the president.
Well, I think we welcome it, obviously, because we made clear submissions almost 2 years ago that we believe that the country was ready for Judge Maya. We've indicated that Judge Maya had more than 22 years of experience, and she, even when she was at the SCA, a lot of changes were brought on the bench in itself, if you look at how the SCA has transformed. And so we can see that she's not just, in terms of her work on the actual bench, she's actually activist in terms of transformation. She's also worked in various organizations like the South African Judges Association, etc. And so for us, that is very important to be able to ensure that there's gender transformation on the bench. We know that she's also indicated, that she is going to ensure that there is, for example, sexual harassment code for judges, which sadly this country we still don't have. And there's a lot of work that she's already set out in her previous, when she was interviewed for this particular post. And we do believe that she will be able to bring all of those in to the profession. And so we welcome, the president actually making this particular nomination. We also know that many of the opposition parties during her interview, all supported her. And I think that we also know that obviously she will be the first, but we also need to know that it is not the end in terms of gender transformation. A lot of work still needs to be done. We have 11, for example, superior courts, and we know that there is not more than 2 women, for example, in those leadership positions. Yeah. And we need to be able to ensure that there are more women on these superior courts. And hopefully, Judge Maya, which she has shown what she's done on the SCA, will be able to bring that in. And we will obviously, as women within the law profession, work with her to be able to ensure that there is transformation. But in addition to that, that is also safety and security within the judiciary for women, so that we ensure that there is no sexual harassment, there's no bullying, etc. And that code needs to be brought in to the profession. Yes. So that is something which the Women's Legal Center will be looking at, seriously when she gets appointed, because she indicated that she will ensure that is brought in.
She's coming in, Seehaam, at a turbulent time for the judiciary in the country in terms of the politics, and our politicians engage in lawfare and certainly looking to the judiciary in most cases to be the mediator in their disputes. You've already mentioned the bullying, you've already mentioned the criticism, and maybe others can say even the sexual harassment of members of the judiciary. Do you think all that is going to be material, will influence how she is received within society at large?
Well, no, I do think that with a previous interview, we could see that many people wanted a woman to be heading the court, the highest court, and I think that South Africa is ready to be able to receive a woman chief justice. She has proven herself, and I think that we must stop saying that there is not competent women to be able to lead, for example, our country, our judiciary, our profession. There are women, and Judge Maya is one of those women, and I think that she will be able to drive agenda, and to ensure that there's transformation. Obviously, all of these things will impact, but even during her interview, it was also marred with lots of challenges, whether or not the country is ready or not. But I think that during those interviews, it was clear that the country is ready. In addition to that, we're lagging behind in terms of Africa. There are so many, countries in Africa that is already surpassed South Africa in terms of gender transformation. And so, and this is where we can look at Zambia, Ethiopia, and Kenya. Kenya are far ahead of South Africa, and all of them have women justices. And so we need to be able to also ensure that that we align ourselves with what is required, both in terms of South Africa, but also in terms of Africa. And I think that she's ready for that. Judge Maya is one such candidate that will be able to fulfill that. She's self-driven, well-rounded jurist. She understands the lived realities of women on the ground. She's got all the qualifications, and through the years, she's been widely and publicly commended by the legal profession as an independent-minded and diligent person. And so we need to be able to support that process, and we are happy that the president has now, made that particular nomination. Yes.
Ncumisa, as we wrap up, some have criticized this particular model and this approach of nominating because they say, well, once nominated, the interview process really is just a ceremonial engagement. There's very little that will go on in that particular process for anyone to even opt otherwise. What do you say?
This is what our Constitution provides for. So That is the process that has to be followed, unfortunately. But you are very fortunate in the sense that we have a well-accomplished woman who's been nominated and who we believe her time has come.
I appreciate you both. Thank you very much for coming on. That was South African Women Lawyers Association Vice President Ncumisa Nongogo and the Women Legal Center Director Seehaam Samaai.